Thanks everybody for inviting us. I apologize we don't have the whole group. 15 of the kids are currently, well 14 are at college. Kevin's on his way. Kevin's a recent graduate. Joe is one of our senior members. He was a junior going in to be a senior. And our band is currently playing in a parade tonight. So that's that. So I brought the computer hoping we could hook up to the Facebook. We have a Facebook page and we chronicled as many photos as we could. On here I have probably well over 1,500 photos, but some of them were personal, but a lot of them were of the students and concerts and whatnot. I brought a lot of memorabilia that we received, such as programs and gifts that were presented at each concert, which was very humbling and most rewarding. So I guess it would be easier if you asked us questions, because the whole trip was, looking back on it, it was, I don't know how we did it in 14 days and what we did in those 14 days, because there were days where, and you could attest to it, there were days where they got up and we had breakfast and we left the hotel and we didn't get back till 11 or 12 at night, and they did a performance in there. So yeah, I couldn't be more proud of them. So if you have questions, we'll be happy to answer, or we could just go, basically what the places that we visited. Not sure how you want to.
That's probably like some of the countries you've been to?
Well, we started off in London, and we were very nervous about it because of all the terroristic threats. And actually, while we were in the air, some of us had the Wi-Fi on, and we learned of the recent. There was a third attack in the northern area of where we were staying. So London was a very quick trip, and if I could ever go back, I think I'd like to go back. They went to, they sang on the steps of St. Paul's Cathedral, which was fascinating. That's where Princess Di and Prince Charles got married. And then we briskly boarded the bus and ran over to the area where we walked to the changing of the guards, and we got to see from a far distance the changing of the guards and then the pageantry that took place. And we got a couple group photos in the beautiful gardens there. And then we ran back to the bus and went over to the London Eye, went on the London Eye, and then ran back to the bus, went over to the Tower of London, and spent a good part of the day there, which wish we had more time there because it was so large and so historical and so breathtaking. And then some of us went back to the hotel, and then a whole other group went to see Phantom of the Opera. So we did 5 major things in London in practically one day, because the second day was a travel day. And then that was our trip to Wales. And we stopped at Tintern Abbey. That was our first stop, and help me, because after Tintern Abbey, they sang, after almost every stop that they made, they either sang 1 or 2 pieces in Welsh, or they did a concert. So, and some of the stops were prearranged, but some were just impromptu, made by our tour leader. So, do you have any? And Kevin, please feel free to speak up if you want to.
I think you just covered it.
Yeah. We did Tintern Abbey, and then, oh no, I forgot about
Stonehenge?
Stonehenge. That was when we landed. We literally got off the plane, got on the buses, and went to Stonehenge. We didn't even, shower or eat or anything. We just went right there. That was prior to all the London stuff. So then when we got in Wales, we did Tintern Abbey, and then, oh gosh, the next day we visited, I should have brought the itinerary. I have a mental block. Well, our first concert was with Cor Dathlu Cymtawe. Cor Dathlu is the group that essentially got this whole thing rolling. They're a male choir from Wales, and when they came here in October 2015, they invited Valley View, Carbondale, and the Scranton show choir to sing with them in various concerts. So we joined them in Carbondale, and that's how the whole thing began. So they were our first concert. I have their program. I believe I only have one of these. I only have one of these programs, so I'll be happy to pass them around. But if you'd be so kind, this is This is actually my personal copy. We did get extras of others, but if you could pass that back. So our first concert was Kordafu, and we were also joined by students of a school there. The concerts were very interesting. They're not like concerts that we're used to here. Usually the visiting choir would open up the concert, and then they would sing a few songs. The home choir would sing a few, and they would go back and forth. The first half would usually last about an hour. And in between the major choir works would be incidental solos or soloists, which were held by the guest high school. And in the second half, the amount was reversed. So the home choir would open it up. And then at the end, which I think was really satisfying and overwhelming, was when we combined everybody. And then the conductors joined in, and either the home conductor or I had the honor of conducting the big group. So that's kind of the way it rolled through the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anything else?
Well, a concert is, it's hard to put it into perspective because, you go to a concert and it might last 2 hours. Some of the longer concerts, like the Ponte Dulles one, the last concert was around, like 3.5 hours?
Yeah, it was pretty
So, and they like to they would have us get up for one song, and then we would go and sit back down and they'd do a song, and then they would go and sit down and wait. So it was very lengthy, and but it was fun. The whole time was very enjoyable.
It was very different in the aspect where their sense of appreciation of the arts is very high over there, and I would say population 30 and over are very, very, very involved in choral singing, more on the male side. They do have women's choirs, but there are many male choirs, and they're in great competition, which I learned, the north versus the south of Wales. And we stayed toward the south, but we traveled quite a distance. If I get a chance, I know that's on my desktop. I took the time to go to Google Earth, and I marked every single spot that we visited while we were there. And we spanned east to west. We hit not almost everything, but we went as far west as we could in Wales. So our second concert took us to, was it Morristown? This was the third one. Oh, Ysgol Bro Dynefydd. This was the second one where we got to, yes, this is where Conway, the musical director of Kordafu Cwmtawe, the adult male choir, also teaches at this school. So one day we visited the castle. Do you remember the castle with the farm?
Carrick-Cannon?
Was it?
Was it Carrick-Cannon?
Carrick-Cannon. Beautiful castle. We couldn't directly climb the mountain. We had to do S's because it was so steep. Sheep everywhere. It was just, you can't even, the pictures, I encourage you, if you have Facebook or have a family member, go on Facebook, because there are a lot of photos on there, and I'll give you the link. But this school is a brand new school. It was only open 6 or 8 months. They're called super schools, where they would combine 4 or 5 public schools into one. So this was a brand new school that we were able to perform. And although it's a super school, you would think they would have this grandiose auditorium. It was in the cafeteria. We ate in the cafeteria, and they had a beautiful stage, great lighting, all that, but it was right in the cafeteria, and people just sat on chairs like this rather than auditorium seating. So there are many of these. So we can pass these around. Our third concert was at Ysgol Bay Baglan, and this was very special to me, I think to the kids as well. This school was also pretty new, and also a super school, and quite beautiful. We were able to Skype these students and the teacher during the school year, which was super fun. The administration at Valley View, they're really into improving the technology, and so most of the rooms now, if not all, have the big whiteboards but our technology coordinator hooked me up with a great video conference capability, so we were able to Skype. Now they're 5 hours ahead of us, so we had to do the Skyping pretty early, and it was after their school day. But nonetheless, we got to spend the whole school day there with the kids. We got a tour of the school. Please comment if you want to, because I know that was a super fun day. They broke us up, and we saw classrooms. And
Yeah, they had, what stuck out to me about that one was that all the kids had their own pianos that were in the music department.
The music department
Yeah,
was
they
huge.
have, yeah.
They had it was a suite, actually. There were 3 large music rooms and then just a huge hallway, and the main music room had all keyboards. But their schooling is also different, where I believe by the time they're the junior age, they're pretty much done with school, and then they go on to what they call
16.
college, and then once they do college, then they go on to university. So it's a different school system. But they had a creative and performing arts evening where they brought in artworks. They had a craft show and beautiful auditorium space. 2 of the schools that we sang in, their stages are not elevated. Their seats are inclined, so nobody has a bad seat. And the floor level is the stage level. So it's all like that. So here's a couple from here. And you can see that we had a repertoire that we sang, and then we picked and chose from that repertoire. I know I'm talking a lot about the concerts, but in between those, like for example, the second concert we went into the town of, I wish I had the,
Clondilo.
yes, Clondilo. And we walked around this tiny little town, and it was very quaint, and we had time to do that, and then we went over to the castle. There was one day that we went to Tenby,
yeah.
which is a port city. If you want to show your pictures, Joe had some nice photos there. Joe will explain them. And up here we received gifts, so they gave us dishes, and I hope to put them in the case.
This is Tenby, and all the houses on the shore, 'cause it's a shores town, they're all pastel color houses. And here's another photo. And in this photo, that's how you walk down to the beach from the top there. It's situated on top of a large, like coastal, what do you call that? Like a rock. And so you have to walk down all the steps to get down there.
It looks like you got pretty much people that are in pretty good shape.
Well, it's the beaches are very, let's say, unpopulated.
Yeah.
Mostly
it's-
just tourism and sightseeing, because the water's usually only less than 60 degrees year round, so it'd be a little chilly.
Dr. Powell walked down.
Yeah, he walked everywhere. God bless him. These jackets, the first 3 days, we happened to be there in the record-setting heat wave. So we were adjusting to the European way. They don't drink ice-cold water, and it's not readily available as we have water. Their pints are more readily available. If you asked for a pint, you got a pint. If you asked for water, it came that size. But the jackets came in handy later on, and just a silly aside, we had laundry service, but it took a day or 2, so most of our jackets could have walked home by the end of the trip, because I don't think anybody washed them. But these are some photos from Tintern Abbey. Quite fascinating. I won't show you all of them, but you could see it was just this big.
You hook that up to the,
You could probably hook that up to that thing.
does it have?
To this, I don't know if I don't have any cords, or
Oh, you don't have like the...
I don't have the cord to hook it up, but
We have a cord, but it's like, like...
yeah, I only
the
have
pen?
That's an apple, and
Yeah.
it's for a PC.
those apples. They always cause problems. Russilly Beach, Russilly Bay. I don't know how they planned this. We had the whole entire beach to ourselves. That was, oh, this is really cool. We stood from the top and we kind of made a VV from the tippy top. we had time to do that, but it just went on and on and on. I don't want to show you all the pictures of the baby. I want to show you the landscape.
I have pictures of that.
You do?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was
Oh, yeah.
Rosalie Bay, and that's part of the Gower Peninsula.
Yeah.
I think that's the farthest point in South Wales. Out.
Sounds about
The
right.
farthest
Really.
western point.
That was a hike as well. Walking around too. Now, is that from your old camera? Your
No,
Yeah,
that's
that's
from
your
my
regular camera?
my regular phone camera.
Yeah.
So many people swim there because of the temperature?
We didn't see only dogs
I didn't see
going in the
anybody,
water.
any people
A lot of-
swimming.
there were a lot
Some
of
people
pets.
waded a
Yeah.
little bit, but they didn't swim.
Even our kids did, but it was just and there are little caves in there. Did you go in the caves?
Yes.
Did you walk over the caves? You
Yeah.
could explain because I didn't go. I was too afraid. Around this area,
Beautiful.
there were
pictures.
caves. Yeah, and we had it all to ourselves. And right about when we were leaving, a skull team came to start doing
Oh,
some.
cool.
Yeah.
They
So-
questioned people from Wales about like why there weren't more people at the beach, and they said they take it for granted.
Mhm.
They don't, I don't know, maybe they don't appreciate like that we did,
Right,
the way we
right.
did, because it was the most
Sand is
beautiful.
very rough there, though.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very-
But it was the
Yeah.
most
I've been there,
beautiful
and the
scenery
sand
I've
is
ever
very-
seen.
It was.
It's a different type of sand there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't take my shoes off. It was. I was.
I had my shoes off. I
Did
thought
you
it
have
was
your shoes
fine.
on? Yeah. Oh, that's a
It's
personal
different
story.
though, it's
It is,
rough.
it's definitely different.
Yeah, it is, it's a lot different.
Okay, so that's Ross of the Beach. You can help me because you'll remember. And then we had the kids. Oh, and then we
Oxford Bay.
Oxwich Bay, the Oxwich Bay Hotel, which is where we ate. They gave us some where we didn't have real food. We didn't have egg sandwiches there. The common cuisine for Welsh was egg sandwiches, ham with butter.
Sausage
Cheese and
Sausage, cheese and pickles, and they would cut the bread. And I mean, you know, you go to a different country, and we weren't used to that. We were thankful we had a McDonald's.
So we all would have
Tomatoes.
lost weight
Yeah.
if they didn't have McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's and Pizza Hut,
Yeah,
right?
Pizza Hut too.
But they fed us. They were so generous. I mean, when it was all said and done, I think most of the kids got $700 or $800 back. So they only paid maybe half of their trip for 14 days, and a lot of food was there's a group picture. I tried to get a lot of group pictures because I thought it was important that we saw them. Oh, and then the caves.
The caves.
The caves. We saw the Danny Ogarth Caves, and that was arranged for them to sing in there. Of course, the lighting wasn't all that great, but it was raining inside the cave. It was the most rainy day ever, and the bugs were relentless. They were just in your face. The rain was coming down. The bugs were right here.
What is the significance of the cave and why, how did it turn into a singing venue?
It wasn't. It's not a singing venue, but we visited, and our tour guide asked Ted. He asked if we can get permission to sing there, just with the acoustics.
How'd that
That's the
sound?
cathedral cave.
It was like singing in a church, but better.
Did you guys like it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, on Facebook too. Like the-
Yeah, these photos are on here. Yeah.
I mean, like this, the actual song in the cave.
I don't know. I'll have to check.
There
I'll
are
have to check.
some, I don't know if that one was in there or not.
I didn't upload music until I got home because the Wi-Fi connection was poor, and when everybody was back at the hotel, it was even slower. So I try to upload things when we weren't all there. So the caves were fascinating in themselves, and it was like a little Jurassic Park type thing. You know, they had these dinosaur things going on, life-size. I just hadn't wish it wasn't so buggy. 'Cause
Yeah.
they were really in attack mode.
Is that the time of the season, or is that just like all the time?
I think it was just, I guess they said the bugs weren't normal, you know. And this was a performance day. So after this, I do remember because it was very damp. And then we went to and I was worried about the kids getting sick because the temperature started to drop. And there's just oodles and oodles of pictures of cave stuff. Then we stopped at an opera house. and the kids sang on a stage. The woman was she was actually a mistress of someone in the Welsh Parliament, something like that, and she built this opera house because she had a lot of money, and there was a little rendezvous room in the back, and
Oh my word.
yeah, it was quite fascinating with the history, but they had all the classical composers' names or all the opera composers' names, and so the kids sang on the stage there. That was
With a little
impromptu.
scandal on the side.
Little scandal on the
There you
side.
go.
But yeah. Oh, Michelle, there you go. And this is the outside of the building, so it's actually a hotel now, and they have weddings there. So that was that, and then we popped in the bus. And the bus rides themselves were just treats. We had the best bus driver. Oh, and then we came to,
Oh, this is business.
yeah. So at this point, it was raining, and it was kind of yucky.
How many days out of all the days were you there was it raining and yucky?
Because maybe 8. The first
That's
3 were
pretty
really
typical.
warm. If
Oh,
we
it
didn't
was
get
real- it was
heat,
typical,
we didn't get heat
yeah.
stroke at Stonehenge. I don't know if anybody would, because we were there at 12 p.m. The sky was clear, and it was hot. So that was all in one day, and then we came back, and we had our first performance at the church.
I just didn't
Go ahead.
interrupt, but
Yeah.
those pictures
Which way?
of the estrogen line. They said that the one guide there that came to tell us about it was an uncompleted iron production. What would that be called? Like an iron furnace.
Iron
In an
furnace.
iron furnace, and they said that the designer of the Scranton iron furnaces actually went over there and looked at that design, and that inspired him to create our iron furnaces.
Wow, that's cool.
That is pretty.
Yeah, so
that is
there
pretty neat,
there are
yeah.
some elements of it that are similar.
And the gentleman that was really supposed to speak to you was not there on time, and then he was going to speak to them, and then I kind of put the kiboshes on it because it was about 2 hours before concert time, and I wanted them to get warm and dry and fed and digested, because we had butterflies. It was our first concert, you know, and it was a big deal to us. So first concert in the church, lots and lots of people, very well attended. And then at the end, we brought out our Welsh flags and sang "Now is the Hour," which was a great tribute. It's a little Welsh tradition that they do, to say that we'll never say goodbye and we'll meet again someday. Then we went to the Botanical Gardens the next day. That was really beautiful. The largest glass dome in the world, I think. I don't know if I have a picture of the dome itself. And they sang in there. That was prearranged. They sang John Rutter's "All Things Bright and Beautiful," which was very appropriate. Then we went to Tenby. This is Tenby,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Very, very colorful, and Joe, you have your picture, right?
I have to do
Yeah.
it here. Either do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tenby was a beautiful port town. And that was not a concert day, I don't believe.
No, that was the day we went to.
Yeah, that
Lawn.
was a fun day. We were just like eating ice cream and
Yeah, we were
being
at Tenby
crazy.
for about 3.5 or 4
Yeah.
hours. And
oh, then we
then we
went
went to Lawn Castle.
Then we went to Lawn Castle, Dylan Thomas Boathouse. That was pretty. Kevin, jump in when you want to jump in. So we were hanging out, you know, being silly, waiting. It was another chilly day, but then we walked to Dylan Thomas's boathouse, and we got the history on that. Somebody specifically just spoke to our group. Nobody else was there. It was just us. And on the way back, we were shooing the kids back. You know, it's time to go. It's time to go. So there were about 15 of us left, and well, the pictures say it. I'll just find it. We got back, and it was high tide.
Oh, boy.
So all the kids were on the bus, and most of the adults were not back, so I had to take shoes off and walk through the water. It was freezing, but worth it. And which castle? Oh, is this Lauren Castle? No,
that's,
because we went in one. There's just,
That's good.
we saw a ton of castles. What was the castle on the next day?
It's the one that the town was built around.
I have the thing there.
I don't
know, but-
I just looked at.
All of these photos are on Facebook. Oh, this castle had the big king chair.
Yeah.
So it was an oversized chair. I got to sit in it. So that was neat. So everybody took their turn sitting there. And we got about 2 hours at the castle. And again, sorry, the personal photos are mixed in there, but you could see the view from the top.
Wow, that's cool.
It was just, and some of the castles, I don't know if it was this one, had a cave or
The dungeons?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
dungeon.
Carrot Cannon had the really old cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that the one castle was built on top of a hill, and it was actually underneath. You could go in, and it was a prehistoric cave dwelling, they said. So you could walk down, and it's just a regular, like, sloped cave down to the bottom where there's actually a small glacier formation that they used to as a water source back near the like the Bronze Age. So
Did you go down?
yeah.
I did not. Did you go down?
Yeah.
I was too
I
chicken.
didn't go
There's-
down.
Because it was pitch black.
Yeah, there were no
And-
lights.
needed our
And you know, the steps were, you know, the triangular stone steps, and you're holding your phone, or, but you know, God bless Doc Powell, he went down. He went all the way down. Then we drove all the way west to St. David's, the oldest cathedral in Wales, breathtaking.
It is.
Postcard.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Impromptu performance there. Ted asked the guy, and he said, absolutely not. He said, do you realize you have a choir here from America, and blah, blah, blah. So we got to sing Amazing Grace, which was nice, and the Welsh national anthem. Yeah, the pipes on the organ, for those of you that appreciate the, and they weren't even the largest ones. The largest ones were around the back. They were big, square.
They told us how many pipes were used in
2,200.
it. Was it-
They
Yeah.
said around. Yeah.
We had a lot of private talks, which was super nice as well. Here's Clondilo, the city of Clondilo, which is just a little town, very quaint. You know, very narrow streets. Most of the cars were small. Until we got to Cardiff, we started
Yeah.
seeing, you know, the bigger cars, like Toyota Camrys, or
Not that big, huh?
yeah, most of them were Yaris or smaller. They, you
And
know,
they were narrow.
or these vans, yeah.
These are very
Oh, we had some
narrow
close calls on the bus. The bus, he was the king, you know. If he was coming down the road and the cars were coming, he'd be like, back down, back down.
How
you know,
about Selwyn
they're-
getting off the bus and yelling at the cars?
Yeah.
Do you realize how big these buses are?
Yeah. We either had a regular coach bus or we had a double decker. The bus driver, Simon, he was a rock star. What's this? Oh, this was East Gold, Bro Denver.
Mhm.
Oh, here's the castle I was speaking about,
Carrot Cannon. Yep.
where we had to climb that hill. And then there's more sheep. I actually had Wi-Fi signal, and I was able to FaceTime my mom with the sheep behind me, which was really neat. I never thought I'd have signal. But you're gonna say, where's the sheep? Just lots of kids. There's some sheep. They were all over the place. Yeah, they were all over. And you could see everywhere. You could just see for as far as the eye could see. First school, if I'm going over, tell me if you want me to be quiet. As it was 14 days and it was long. So that's our second concert. There's Kevin. Is that Kevin? No, it's Polly. From far away, it looks like you.
Oh yeah.
Really, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's Polly. So that's our second concert. Combined choirs, awards at the end, gift exchange. Cardiff, the main hub. Wish I shopped there more. It was that's where we went to see Parliament. And we were the first group to sing in Parliament ever.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty special. They allowed the students and chaperones to go right in to where Parliament has their sessions. She's the Secretary of Education. Her name escapes me. Kids are just singing and you know what I loved about this group was you'd say, "Can you guys sing this?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." They could be in any formation anywhere, and it sounded great. They'd be, you know, they just stepped up to the occasion. And then they sang on the steps down in the lobby.
What kind of gifts did you bring your hosts?
We, Mr. Ted Fritchie, he arranged, coal mining is very big over there. So he, what's the word I'm looking for? Hired someone out there to make us coal slate.
Commission?
Commission.
Yeah,
because of
right.
it. And I should have brought that. We were able to buy it for ourselves, but each person that we gave, it's a coal slate that's freestanding, and it just says the Wales Tour, Voices of the Valley, and Friends Forever, something like that.
Happiness is having
Welsh
Welsh
friends.
Welsh friends, yeah. So we gave them that, and in turn we got plaques. Each student received a certificate. We have a framed one in the choir room. Lots of press out there, plaques and dishes, and the Love Spoon, which I never saw one like this. These are very popular, but they made a treble clef. And that was given to us by Ponterdelice Choir, which is probably the most popular choir over there. It's 100 male voices. Extremely powerful. Very intimidating when you see them. Yeah. So I'm flying through these. Then we went to the Welsh Natural Museum. That big.
Oh,
It wasn't a park. It was just they took all different historical artifacts all over Wales and they moved them and put them in this one central location. So you would see an old church. You would see homes from every decade or every 50 years and how they changed. That was pretty cool. They had a little farm. They repainted. That's what fascinated me. I thought, how could they do this? But they actually took it down stone by stone and rebuilt them and put them back. And at this point, some of the kids, sorry, one of my friends had a baby. At this point, kids were breaking off into little groups and they were singing in their own little groups and making their mark over there. These are individual pictures that kids sent me, so they get put through on the loop. Let's see. Sorry. I told you there's a lot. Garden Botanica. Yeah, Garden Botanica. Botanical Gardens. The school, the East Gold Bay Baglan, the school that we visited for the day, and then the concert. That was probably the most professional looking concert to us back home. You know, they had the nice stage lights and stuff. But the church was very quaint and the other schools were very, very nice. The little children that sang. It was kind of, if you're familiar with the Catholic Choral Society's Generation Sing, where you have little babies all the way up to octogenarians singing. That's basically what our concerts were like every time. The power of music. Then our last day. I know I'm jumping, but our last day we got up, we had breakfast, and we went to Esther Gimli's. They had this festival. So the kids sang for that. And when we first got there, there were maybe 5 people. By the time they were done singing, it was standing room only. So they fed them, and we whisked away and we shopped a little bit. And then we had a nice big meal, and then we went over to Prothero Park. Prior to leaving, our trip coordinator asked us to go to the cemetery down behind St. Joseph's. And they sang, I can't think of the name, and it'll come to me. He asked them about a month before we left to learn this Welsh song. And I thought, we can't learn Welsh in a month, you know, it took us all year. But they did, they learned it, and they learned 2 verses of it. So they went to his grave, they sang the piece, he videotaped it, took a photo, and when we were over there, they honored Daniel Prothero at a monument. And almost the whole town of Estergynlai was there. And it was our choir and Cordafu Kuntale and another choir. And the kids just represented so well, and Daniel Prothero's great niece was there. And so this is the program from that, and there's this program too. So they have it in English, then they have it in Welsh. So you could check that out. Comments?
For
The Prothero Park?
when we were there, they had just created and they dedicated the. They have a whole. I don't even know what you would call it. What would you consider that? It's a monument.
It's
and
right,
it has
it's a big square.
It's a square monument, and each side has a major influence in Welsh history. And when we were there, they dedicated the Prothero side of the slate, and we sang his song there.
So here's his great niece doing the unveiling. That's Hannah. Not that I know her personally, but sweet woman. So it's just one continuous. And I think when they were out of the way, I tried to get a picture of each part. So there's Daniel. They had all dignitaries from the town. Their mayor or similar significance. They wear these necklaces to identify them as such. So that was our second thing that day. So they had already given a full concert from 11 to 12. They ate, shopped a little bit, went over here at 1 o'clock or so, sang that, and then they had to go back and then they had to sing the biggest concert on the tour with Ponterdeli's choir, which is the 100-voice choir. So it was quite intimidating. All these men around risers, and we're in this big gym. Yeah. Yeah. So, and they travel quite extensively. They have to audition to get into this choir. Most of the choirs over there, you all come, and everybody's in it. But this is an audition choir. And so I think at our last booster meeting, Ted said, somebody leaned over to him and he said, you know, Ted, I hope your children aren't too intimidated by us, you know. And Ted said, well, maybe we won't be, you know. So the kids, I didn't know where they got their energy from. It was, they brought me to tears on the last song. It was just, I know I keep repeating myself, but I couldn't be more proud of the kids that went on this trip because they just kept pulling energy and pulling positive energy and spreading humanity, like just heartfelt humanity to these people, and that's what they keep commenting on. I got a few emails over the summer, but Ted got a lot of them, and he still gets them, and they want them to come back. And I said, you know, I don't know if we can ever replace this group. I mean, the group is going to keep going, you know, because you know that's what we do. We're going to continue making music, but the humanity that they showed and the compassion and the exuberance, I mean, it just adjectives. I couldn't be more proud of them. So, and we can't thank the community enough for supporting us as well. We couldn't have gone because a lot of the money that was raised, it went all to the kids. So more than half of their trip was paid for. So, do you have anything you want to add?
No.
Besides utter exhaustion when we got home? Yeah.
Everything was interesting. Like there wasn't a boring part about the trip.
It was nonstop. And then when they had downtime, they were still going. Like, I'm going to bed. Yeah.
Some of the men drove 2 hours to practice twice a week, like to the choir,
Yes,
to court,
yes.
because they're all just so
Yeah.
dedicated to it.
Yeah.
Here, it's like, we have to go all the way to Scranton.
Right, right, and that's what's so fascinating. So when we went to the schools and we participated in the school programs, you know, to hear the other choirs, it was really cool to know that we're kind of on the same aspect. Oh, how I would love for our community to have the music that they have for the older generations, because wow, they just keep going and going. So, do you have any comments?
Was there much cultural shock when you got over
Yes.
there?
For
The
me,
food.
I mean, for the kids, I think they're more flexible than I mean, my dietary, I'm pizza and pasta and that's it. I don't eat seafood, nothing. So, I was glad to see McDonald's. But I mean, if I ever do it again, I'm gonna order a lot of water and just a little bit more homey stuff, which they didn't know, but you know, the food was free, so I wasn't gonna complain. You
They
know?
don't have ranch dressing over there. Kathy was quite upset about it.
Yeah. A lot of sausage type meats, patties and things that, you know, I wouldn't eat it, can't identify it. So.
Were you in the south more than in the north?
South.
You didn't go into the north?
We didn't go into the north. No.
North is very mountainous.
Is
Mountains
it?
are beautiful.
I wish, well, you know, maybe that's another one. I do want to show you that,
Actually, they teach mountain climbing
do they
for
really?
everybody in that one section. you know,
Oh my goodness.
Probably. But it was like
Because the mountains are so steep.
Yeah, the reason, the way we planned the trip was, the songs we learned them in a specific Welsh dialect.
Yeah.
And in the north, they don't,
Yeah.
it would be considered disrespectful
It's-
to them
yeah,
if you
yeah,
sang in a
yeah.
different dialect than what they would.
Thanks for bringing that up,
Yeah.
Joe. Selwyn Morris was our contact in Wales, and he's 83, and he communicated with me through WhatsApp. So he would speak the Welsh. I would show it to the kids, play it for the kids, send it to the kids. I'd sing it. I'd record a rehearsal. I'd send it to him through WhatsApp, and he'd say, "Gina, fix this, fix this, fix this." And when we got there, they said that we pronounced Welsh better than the kids that lived there, which was a true testament to them, because we started the Welsh in August when we returned to school last year. All these yellow stars are everywhere we went. So I could pass that around so you could see if you want to look, because I know I'm
North
not.
Welsh, the thick Welsh. To see it, the language.
It was
thick Welsh.
there's a lack of vowels,
Yeah.
and the letter Y is pronounced not E. I learned that.
That's why they call it
Yeah.
thick Welsh.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Did you get to spend any time with the locals?
Yeah, well, the strange thing is, you know, like you walk down the street, say in Scranton, and people just run by you, you know what I mean? When we were walking through some of the towns, people would just stop us.
mhm.
Just because we were in a group together and they say, you know, where are you from? Why,
That's the
like,
jacket,
you know,
yeah.
yeah, and they want to know our story.
They loved
So-
our accents.
Yeah,
They
they did love
commented
Yeah.
on that.
There was not one, I didn't encounter, I don't know if the kids did, the chaperones, I did not meet one rude, inconsiderate person.
No.
Yeah, they're all.
They were, everybody was just, I think the kids were shocked too.
Yeah.
You know, even in public places, it was, yeah, it was definitely a life-changing experience, for a lot of us. And, you know, I'm proud because I think there were 5 or 6 that had never flown, and 5 or 6, and some of them didn't go without their parents. They went without their parents. So, you know, it was a huge undertaking, and I applaud everybody that went on the trip because, you know, knock on wood, I think, you know, other than just a little bit of adjustment to the plane rides and stuff, everything went great.
We took 30 kids and we brought them all back.
And we brought them all back, exactly, yeah. Well, we brought 70.
Yeah.
Well, we
yeah,
brought
they were-
72 and
Yeah.
we were scheduled to bring 68 home because
Yeah,
4 stayed and went
that's
on to
right.
Ireland, yeah.
They were other people, they weren't- they
Consequently,
weren't-
Ted was in a car, our tour leader was in a car accident the day we returned to the United States. He's fine.
In Wales or
On
in?
his way to Ireland, the car flipped with his nephew and Selwyn, but they were fine. They were fine. The rental car was totaled,
And
but they
he's
were fine.
82 or
He's
81 or
now.
something,
He
yeah.
just turned 81. Yeah.
It seemed like they're really into the arts over there. like-
Yeah, yeah. And so Cordal Lukumtawe is coming back October 18, 2018. And they asked Valley View to host a concert. So I said, absolutely.
Wow.
I didn't even check with the administration. I don't think they're going to have any problems. So spread the word. We're just going to make it a big shebang. We're going to give them the same hospitality that they gave us. And we're trying to get the students from East Gold Bay Bagland to come over here and visit. It is from a poor school, so if the kids do come over and they're permitted, we're probably going to try to find housing for them. So that's the goal for them. Yeah. I should
That's the way they
play.
used to do districts and regional chorus and band. They
Yes.
used to stay at houses.
If you would just humor me, there's one video I have to play for you. From how old do you think that little boy was that came on the bus?
Oh,
Oh,
I think he was
oh
11.
my god, that was
11 or 12. I think 11.
He was so cute.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
My family was from Cardiff.
And
They owned an
unfortunately,
inn
I
right
had
outside
I
of
had this on Facebook, but I had to take it
It
off
was called the
because
Blangwari.
the kids from his school were busting on him, and I didn't want to have any bullying going on. So let me just try to find my
Never
videos.
heard
If you
of
see
it.
videos here.
And it's right outside of Cardiff. Cardiff is one of the biggest industrial cities in the world now, you know.
Swansea, we have a Swansea section in Blakely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Swansea.
Used
to play
That's where
softball there.
my family owned an inn in Swansea.
Really?
Called the Blangwar Inn.
Really?
Yeah, outside of Cardiff.
Wow.
Yeah. Still standing,
Wow.
still there.
I wish we knew.
Yeah.
I wish we knew.
Next time.
Well, this young man, prior to leaving our third concert at East Gold Bay Bagland, he asked to come on the bus. And I didn't know what to expect.
I hope you enjoyed your visit to my Bagland school. I just like to say, we are, as you may have heard in the concert, we are hoping to raise money to come to America. And I must say, each and every one of you stood out in our theatre tonight. You are wonderful voices. The girls sound like angels, I must admit. And the boys, yeah, you sound so soulful in the way you're singing.
I mean,
I just
what
sat
young
in the
person
chair
thinks like this, you know?
Gracious ambassador.
That's how each and every one of you.
Yeah. So he was super sweet, and you know he spoke from his heart, and that's how a lot of the people were over there, which I think opened up a lot of things in our minds to visiting over there, and so hopefully it'll
But he
spread.
was also almost completely deaf.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was something.
He had a microphone that the teacher would hold, and she would actually tell him what to sing because he could barely hear.
He took
That
that to
was-
every class. Right?
Yeah.
That was
And-
funny because at the rehearsal, because the teacher came over, she's like, I need a microphone now because he's listening to everything you're saying. That's what I had on. Not that I was saying anything bad, but, yeah, yeah. So, I don't know if you have any other questions. You know, I'm happy to leave the extra stuff here. It's just that one program from the Kordafu Kumtawe.
And do I have, I don't think I have that. I don't have that.
The rest of it is all, you can, I think
Oh,
that's it.
everything.
No, this one? Oh, yeah,
Right there.
yeah. Yeah, oh, thank you. Do you have anything else you want to think of?
No, I don't
No,
think so.
no.
Actually, yeah, one of the cathedrals we went to, it was built a really long time ago, and like the way it was like the ceiling was being held up, it was really cool. It was like,
St. David's Cathedral.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was. What was it? It was
Well, they
like-
said that
I had to add on to it because it was,
Yeah, it started out as a very small monastery, and as they built up and up, you could actually see where the original pillars were just hanging there, and they had expanded the roof out, and the woodwork in there is all hand carved. The whole ceiling was made about 550 years ago, so it's really, really beautiful, and all the fixtures are hand carved wood in there. So.
I ate in a little shop. I had a panini, and it was a beautiful day that day. We went, and I said, wow, this is a beautiful town. And he said, where are you from? And I said, oh, we're from Pennsylvania, the United States. He said, what part? And I said, oh, near Scranton. He said, oh, well, I lived in Westchester. He said, doesn't this remind you a lot of Westchester? And I where would this happen? So,
We talked about how friendly the people are. We went into a restaurant and there was no seats. They said, the waitress said, there'll be, if you wait about 5 minutes, you'll be able to sit. So we waited, and it was maybe about 3 minutes. We got a seat, and she apologized for us having to wait so long.
yeah. Yeah. And the locals, speaking of the locals, we stayed at a hotel, Hotel Blanco, Faro Blanco Hotel. And it was a Hopin hotel. It was the central part of Swansea. They had weddings there a lot. And they let us, if the DJ was there, the kids went out with the DJ. We sang with the locals. They did an impromptu, singing in the lobby. Just the locals were super. Yeah. So we'd like to thank you for your support. One of the members of Cordaflu actually wrote a piece, and he gave it to Voices of the Valley in the hopes that we perform it. So it's in Welsh, and so that's on the agenda. This is the certificate that all the kids got from Ysgol Bro Denefir, and then the different news articles out there.
It's like a great trip.
It was fabulous. Fabulous. We're very thankful. Very thankful. And thank you for having us. Hope we didn't take too much of your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.